guys, welcome to another episode of Don't Be Like Holly, where I make mistakes and you guys have the chance to learn from them. Isn't that fabulous? I would definitely have to admit that throughout my lifetime I have been a little bit optimistic. Others might call it stupid. The point is I've given way too many people the benefit of the doubt, and now I know better. However, it did make for some really good story time, so buckle up, grab a snack, grab a beverage, whatever you need, because this is gonna get pretty interesting. Alright, so let's roll back the calendar. The year is 2008. I am working at a radio station in Los Angeles called Superestrella, and it broadcasts to 13 different cities, not including LA. Now at this point in my life I was doing the night show, which was awesome. I loved it. Yes, if you can't tell, I am a night person. So basically I'd roll into the studio at 11:50 at night with my apple turnover and my chai latte, and I'd get situated, crack my knuckles, and get ready for a fun night. I never really thought about the fact that I was all alone in the building. Nobody else was there, probably nobody was monitoring me. And I basically had all the freedom in the world to do whatever the heck I wanted. It's also very probable that not that many people were listening to me since my shift was from midnight to 5 a.m., but believe me, that was the least of my concerns. I'd take whatever call rolled in and use it for the purposes of the show that I was trying to create, and everything was awesome. It was not a 5-hour talk show, it was 5 hours of playing songs and randomly speaking in between them. Now the main cities that we broadcast to were Phoenix, Dallas, Denver, Sacramento, El Paso, Salinas, Albuquerque, Palm Springs, and I can't remember any others. Now let's keep in mind that MySpace was still experiencing somewhat of a boom, aka it hadn't died yet, and I liked to log in there and chat with my listeners as well and see what they had to say, how they were reacting to what I was saying, and what have you. So one night I get a really sweet message from a guy named Jerry. He told me that he loved my show, that he listened to me very often, that all of his friends knew how much he loved listening to me. He thanked me for brightening up his nights, told me that he had issues with insomnia because his mom had recently died of cancer, and that I really helped him sort of get over that stuff and smile a little bit more. So I was really touched by this. I was like, man, I am so happy to be able to inject a little bit of joy into someone's life who's been going through so much. And out of sheer curiosity, I clicked on his picture and checked out his profile, and you could definitely see that he was a bit of a melancholy guy. You'd see pictures of him sitting on his car staring off into the distance with like a very sad caption about, you know, life and changes. And I also noticed that a lot of girls would write on his pictures telling him how hot he was, how they wanted to comfort him and take care of him, and I was like, wow, this Jerry is a popular dude. I wrote him back, thanked him for listening to the show. You know, I was extremely supportive and told him that it made me really happy to be able to paint a smile on his face. And I remember shortly after that I got another message from him where he basically said that he was extremely heartbroken over this girl who he considered to be the love of his life, that her name was Pau, and that he just couldn't get over her, but he also couldn't get over what she had done. I honestly don't remember what she did, but basically it seemed like it was kind of a pride thing. Like he wanted to be with her, but he wasn't going to be the one to reach out because he felt like it was kind of her turn, the ball was in her court. So I just told him that he needed to follow his heart and that love will always find a way. I have no idea why someone would confide in me. It's not like I ever said I was a relationship expert, but it was sweet, you know, for him to be vulnerable and to be able to sort of offer the best advice that I could come up with. A few weeks go by and I'm in studio just like any other night, and I get a phone call from the area of Salinas, which is where Jerry lived, the 831 area code. I answer the phone and it's a really pleasant girl who tells me that her tire blew out by the side of the road while she's driving home from work, and that she called her dad and he didn't care. Basically he was like, well, you need to get that figured out. Don't you have AAA? And I asked her, well, don't you have AAA? And she said, no, I don't. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, oh my gosh, why are you calling me? Now the listeners did tend to think that we were local in their cities, but still, why are you calling an on-air DJ? Call a friend, call a loved one, call a family member, except for your dad, who apparently doesn't care. But anyway, I questioned none of this and I told her, hey, I wish you the best. I'm so sorry that I can't help you. You know, be safe, stay in your car, make a phone call, don't waste your battery, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, hey, before I go, I do want to send a shout out. I'm like, you want me to put you on the air? She's like, yes, if you could send a shout out to the love of my life, Jerry, tell him I'm really, really sorry for what happened between us, and I just hope that we can see each other again. I miss you and I love you. And I was like, oh my gosh, wait, Jerry? And she's like, yeah, Jerry, he loves your show. I know he'll be listening. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Jerry from MySpace. So I edit up the call, make it sound really cool, and I throw it on the air. Well, it turns out Jerry heard the phone call and went to go save her. Pau called me a few days later, absolutely ecstatic, elated, and in love. She said that as she was trying to figure out what to do, some headlights pulled up, she was scared, she was confused, and it turned out to be Jerry. He had come to rescue her. They had this huge reconciliation. They gave each other a hug. They said they were sorry. They told each other that they loved each other. They're back together, and it's all thanks to me. She basically told me that I'm going to be the madrina at their wedding. Something between a sponsor and a fairy godmother. I really was excited. I was like, oh my goodness, they're back together because of me. Like, somehow in this crazy world, I was able to help love triumph over all. Again, the way I'm telling this story, it sounds like Jerry and Pau are basically the protagonists, but just imagine random interspersed phone calls throughout the night and, you know, me obviously doing my job in between all of this. One night, Pau called me extremely distraught. She told me that she was locked in her room because her dad's girlfriend was threatening her. Basically, her parents had divorced, the mom was back in Mexico, and this woman that the dad had gotten with absolutely despised her, could not stand her, and was making her life a living hell. This woman was threatening Pau, calling her names, telling her that she hated her, and I don't even know what all went on, but basically Pau ended up falling down the stairs and bruising up her legs so bad that she could barely walk. She also told me that her dad was an alcoholic and that he would come home just thrashed, just out of it. Not even himself. She would try to talk to him, he'd get violent, and she would have to dodge his punches. I mean, this was a dramatic family. I remember Pau even uploaded a picture of her bruised leg, and Jerry commented on it, "Baby, I'm so sorry that you're going through this. I can't wait till we move in together. I just need to save a little more money, then we can be happy, we can be free. You don't have to deal with this. I'll take care of you." It was so dramatic. And I just remember thinking, these poor problematic souls. I mean, they go through so much. And I'm not gonna lie, I clicked on their profiles many a time just to see how they were doing, check up on them, and a lot of friends were offering support and corroborating every single story, so I never had a reason to doubt any of it. Jerry and Pau would tell each other how much they loved each other, how happy they were to be back together, and I was living for it. It sounds like I basically had no life, which may or may not be true, but apparently from 12 to 5 in the morning you can get a little bit bored, even if you're working. And I found some of my entertainment through this story. But I would definitely say that Pau and I became friends. It sounds crazy, but I really felt like she was my friend. She cared about me, she would call me, we would check up on each other, we'd see how each other were doing, we would laugh together, we would tell jokes. She was a fun girl, and I truly did care for her. One time she got really excited and told me that she had a box of shoes, all kinds of shoes that somebody was giving her because they worked at some factory and they were overflow shoes. I don't even know why or when or how. Puma, Steve Madden's, Nike, everything you can imagine, just because absolutely free. And I'm thinking, I don't even know if I really want more shoes, but that's really sweet that you're so excited about this. All she needed was my size and my address. So I did give her my size, and woo! I was smart enough not to give her my address. I gave her my work address. And as you can imagine, I never received anything. I still have no idea what that was about. But again, it was pretty endearing that she was that excited about giving me tons and tons of shoes. And Jerry was equally as sweet. He would randomly check in, you know, sending me messages telling me that something I said made him chuckle. He seemed to always be listening to my show and really enjoying it, so that was encouraging. And obviously I would encourage him back because he was consistently going through tough times, and I just wanted him to be happy and smile and focus on the positive. One day Pau calls me and tells me that she has a friend named Isela. And she says that this girl really likes me and admires me, but that she's a little shy and that she can't bring herself to call me or write me. And I was like, man, I mean, obviously I'm not intimidating. Obviously I have no issue chatting with anyone. So send her my way, tell her I say hi, and that she should not be scared to call me at all. Pau also mentioned that Isela wanted to be an on-air DJ and was studying communication just like me. So I definitely encouraged her to tell this Isela girl to call me up and to have no fear that I was definitely not intimidating. It was around that time that I was going to be sent to Salinas to present an artist on stage. They would do this really often. Obviously, since we didn't live in the cities that we broadcast to, they would send us out whenever they could so we could interact with the listeners and have some fun and be a part of these big events. So I'm really excited, obviously, to plan a meetup with Pau at the concert. I'm like, dude, let's hang out. You know, I can give you and Jerry my blessing. And when I show up at the event, I'm really excited. I'm saying hi to tons of listeners. I'm chatting with them all night. I go up on stage. I present the artist. I come down, more hanging out. And I never saw Pau or Jerry. I did know what they looked like, obviously, from their MySpace pictures. Now that I'm thinking about it, Pau's pictures were kind of blurry, but I had the general gist of what she looked like, and there was no such person at this venue, at least not that came up to me. So I was like, man, that's kind of a bummer, but whatever. I went back to LA, my life continued, I continued to do my show, everything was normal, and randomly I get a call and it's Pau. And she's like, hey Holly, I'm so sorry, man, it was so disappointing. I tried so hard to get off of work, blah, 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 but I wasn't able to. But I honestly don't even know what the excuse was, but basically she was unable to make it to the show, you think? And I was like, well, what about Jerry? Like, why didn't he come? I could have at least said hi to him, you know, taken a picture, whatever, whatever. And she's like, no, blah, 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 blah. I do not even remember. She did say in that phone call, you know, my friend Isela, she was there. And I'm like, oh, did she say hi to me? And she's like, no, she's really shy, so she kind of just stood back and watched, but she wasn't brave enough to go up to you. I'm like, what the heck, dude? Okay, well, whatever, I guess. What you gonna do? A few weeks go by. It could have been days, weeks, months. I honestly don't remember the timeline of this whole debacle. It probably wasn't months. I get a MySpace message from Jerry and he says, Holly, you're not gonna believe this. I proposed to Pau yesterday and she said, yes, we're getting married, Holly. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is incredible. I always love a good love story. He says the wedding's gonna be in Vegas and that I'm definitely invited and that he's so excited to share the news with me, and he thanks me again for bringing them together. I'm like, oh my goodness, could this end any more beautifully? Finally, these guys are gonna get a happy ending after everything they've been through. Can you even imagine? Naturally, I started thinking whether or not I should go to the wedding. I thought it would be kind of like a nice touch if I just showed up randomly without letting them know. It was somewhere penciled in my agenda. I was obviously waiting for more details. When Pau called me again, it was the same thing. We were giddy like little schoolgirls just talking about how exciting this was and how much fun it was going to be to plan the wedding. And she was like, all I care about is being with Jerry forever and forgetting about our problems. I honestly don't know what all else went on, but let me just say that this was a long relationship. I was invested. I was talking to both of them. It was back and forth. There was a lot of love and laughter and sad times and difficult times. There were lessons, there were tears. I would give them advice. I would listen to their drama. I really had a soft spot for Pau and Jerry. They were sweet people and I wanted to see them do well in life. I wish I had access to my MySpace account. Can you imagine how fun it would be to read these messages firsthand? Ah, where's Tom when you need him? Anyway, wedding bells are ringing. It seems like the sun is finally shining down on Jerry and Pau's lives, and I'm just super excited about it. The happiness didn't last long. On one of these nights, I show up at work, I do a few on-air breaks, I log into my MySpace, and I see a message from a guy named Junior. He appears to be one of Jerry's relatives. As I click on his profile, I can see that Jerry and him have been interacting for months. And I open the message and see that he has written a huge run-on sentence in all caps, which is coincidentally very similar to the way that Jerry would write his messages. And it said something to this effect. Hi Holly, I'm not sure exactly how to tell you this. I'm Jerry's cousin and I know that you're really close to Pau and that they're together thanks to you and they really care about you, but what happened is that they were driving close to a cliff in Reno and the car rolled off and Pau died. Jerry's in the hospital. I'm sorry for telling you like this, but someone had to tell you. Bye.
In the night I lay awake, a shadow dawns.
I just couldn't believe it. I mean, after everything these guys have been through. Seriously? Pau died? Jerry's in the hospital? I mean, how is he? Can he walk? Is he in a coma? What's going on? I responded to Junior immediately. I asked all kinds of questions and I never received a follow-up message. I also wrote a message to Jerry telling him that I was so incredibly sorry for what he had gone through. I was so glad that he was alive. I was hoping that he'd be able to read the message at some point and that if he ever needed anything that he just needed to reach out and I would be there. And I just waited. I remember clicking on both of their pages and they were just inundated with people reaching out, sending love, sending prayers, sending condolences. I don't know if you guys remember the little phrase that you could write next to your profile picture on MySpace. Well, I wrote, "Rest in peace, Pau." A few days later, I got a response from Jerry. I was so excited. I was like, oh my goodness, that means that he's okay mentally. That means that he's okay physically, at least well enough to be able to write me back. That means he's not going to be a quadriplegic. I was trying to look on the bright side. And he thanked me for my message. He told me that he was extremely heartbroken, that he didn't really see a reason for continuing on with life, but that he was grateful for all the support that he was getting. He said he was in a lot of pain and that he wasn't sure if he would ever walk again. It was around this time that I got a message on MySpace from a girl named Maria, we're gonna call her. And she asked me if I knew Pau personally. I clicked on her profile and she also had "Rest in peace, Pau." I was like, wow, another friend that was really close to Pau. This is so devastating. It's nice to have someone reach out that I can talk to. Her question at that point was basically, have you ever met Pau in person? I wrote back that I hadn't, and I thought that was a little odd, but kind of pushed it out of my mind. I spent a good solid week after that just reflecting on life and wondering how it can be so cruel and so unfair. Even my real friends knew all about Pau and all about what had happened to her. Some of them thought it was like a little too much to be believable, but most of them were just sad and couldn't believe that she had gone through so much. Several more weeks go by and I'm in the studio one night and I get a phone call. I'm ready to do my show, get some good audio clips, and I'm like, hello? And I hear, "Hola, Holly, ¿cómo estás?" I felt something take over my body in that moment and I couldn't even decipher what exactly was going on, but I knew that it didn't feel right. It was Pau's voice. I had no idea how to respond. I was shaking and I said, "Who is this?" And she says, "It's Isela, Pau's friend. You heard what happened to her, right? It's just so sad. I can't even get over it." My mind was racing. I didn't know what to do. I think part of me was realizing what was going on and the other part of me didn't want to believe it. And all I could say was, "I can't talk to you right now. You sound just like Pau. Who are you? Like, what's going on?" And I hung up. Now, this phone call came from a blocked ID. A few weeks later, I get another phone call from Salinas. What is this, the front desk of a shrink's office? Anyway, I promised I was working in the meantime. It was Maria, and she told me that she had a few questions about Pau that she wanted to ask me if I didn't mind. It was during this phone call that everything became clear. I told her that was fine, and she said, "So I remember you telling me that you never met Pau in person. What about on the phone? Did you ever talk to her?" I said, "Actually, yes, we talked quite a bit, probably at least 50 times. We had a great rapport. She was really funny. She was really cool. I got along with her well." She says, "What about Jerry?" Actually, now that I realize it, I never talked to Jerry. Everything was through MySpace. She says, "Anyone else?" I'm like, "Well, the other day something really weird happened. I got a phone call and honestly, I'm not kidding. The voice sounded exactly like Pau, and the girl told me that it was her friend Isela. And I really didn't know what to do. I was freaking out. I was like, how do you have the exact same voice? Like, I don't understand." Maria says, "Holly, you're confirming every single one of my suspicions right now. The person behind all of this is Isela." Wait, no, wait, what? I don't even, what, how? I know about Isela. Pau told me about her. She's her friend. She's too shy to talk to me. There's no way that she's behind all of this. Plus, I saw the people reaching out to Jerry to offer their condolences and support him and send him love after everything that happened with the accident. Pau and Jerry used to talk to each other. It doesn't make sense. She said, "Yeah. It looks like Isela has all of these profiles under her control. And she creates elaborate stories and makes them all interact with each other." How do you know this? What do you know? She says, well, I just got off a 2-hour-long conversation with this girl in San Diego who was going out with a guy named Pepe. She was madly in love with him, but somehow mysteriously he would never show up when they planned to meet. And we were able to trace Pepe's phone number back to Isela. I have Isela's number. I was like, oh, you do? What is it? She starts rattling off the numbers one by one. And what do you know? It was the exact same number that Pau used to call me from. So while she was creating this entire drama with me with several different characters, she was also making some girl in San Diego fall in love with some guy named Pepe. Like, what? I was like, no, seriously, how? How does someone come up with this? Why does someone come up with this? Where did she get all of her ideas, all of her imagination? How did she have the time to weave it all together so perfectly? But yes, she made these characters up. Pau and Jerry never existed. I had cried over the figment of some crazy lady's imagination. So yeah, don't be like Holly. Don't get catfished. Don't believe everything you hear just because you want to. Think twice, be smart, use your common sense, and if a situation seems just too weird or you're seeing too many red flags, pay attention to that. Man, the most frustrating thing is realizing that I actually really liked Pau, and she was this crazy girl the whole time. What in the world? Okay, I'm done. Thank you guys for listening to my story. Let me know in the comments at what point you realized that Isela had something to do with all of the weirdness. It's been really fun sharing this crazy story with you guys. Remember, don't be like Holly, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Together